In church pictures, Miscavige is positioned at the very heart of operations, with the spirit of L. Ron Hubbard in the background. Marty was in charge of punishing anyone who questioned either of them.
I didn't think twice about quelling opposition or silencing critics or punishing somebody who had an errant thought about David Miscavige or L. Ron Hubbard.
What was the impression of Marty at the base? How was he viewed?
He was tough, uncompromising, and
liked?
Not really. Feared, maybe. That atmosphere brings out the worst in people. Either they submit or they become one of the predators, you know. And Marty, for a while, was one of the predators there.
You must know him better than anyone, so what do you think he would have been like in the church?
He'd have been one tough dude. I think...
Because he was known as an enforcer, wasn't he?
He would be someone who, you know, if something was happening, you'd say to him, get it done, and he'd get it done. And, you know, if that included slamming somebody on the friggin' bookcase, yeah, then that's what happened.
And I was being interrogated on an e-meter about this incident, and Marty was actually standing behind the girl that was doing the interrogation in the little auditing room with us. And it just kept going on, and she'd say, did you do this? I said, no, I didn't do that. And did you do this? No, I didn't do that. And then Marty actually just said, listen, let's take a break for a second. And he cold cocked me, just boom. And he's a big guy. He's much bigger than I am.
Punched you?
He punched me square in the jaw, out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. It was just boom. And then he goes, good, now go back in there and tell her what she wants to hear.
What did it feel like punching Mark Headley?
It hurt my fist. The guy is built like a tank.
Come on, Marty. Got anything to say? You can't even defend yourself on this, can you?
What's your name?
I gave you my name, Marty.
What's your name?
Marty, I gave you my name. Now let's go take a look at a folder.
What's your name?
Why don't you answer his question?
The Squirrel Busters were trusted, high-level Scientology members organized by the Office of Special Affairs, the propaganda and dirty tricks arm of the Church of Scientology, sent down to get in my face and to make my life a living hell. You guys gonna stick around here?
Yeah, Marty, we're here for weeks and weeks.
As long as it takes.
And then after that day, it was just every day for almost 200 days.
They would go out there and just say the most salacious things about myself and my wife.
Marty has no regard for Mosey as a woman. We know that from the type of sex toys in his collection.
They've sent sex toys to my job. They've sent PIs to my dad's house, to my ex-husband, to all my ex-co-workers, my ex-boss. I mean, they've done, you name it, they've done it.
With Marty seemingly under attack from the church, for many of his readers, there was an obvious question.
How do you feel now that you've had those tricks used against you?
Well, it's, you see, I don't, the question doesn't, I don't get the question. It's not like I went out and then it happened to me and then I went, oh, geez, that's not all right. I mean, I knew it wasn't all right. That's why I left.
Hey, guys, what are you doing?
It's terrific. We actually came to talk to Marty.
Go on.
Yeah, so anyway, Marty, what...
You want to identify yourself?
How much is the BBC paying?
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, like, between the foster care and what the BBC is paying you, is that enough for you to cover your nut?
What's the foster care?
With Marty. Yeah, the foster care, do you get paid enough for the foster care? Okay, here's the crew. Nicely done. I have no interest in being... Thanks, Marty.
This is really sick, man. This is really sick. They're saying that, are you getting paid enough for your foster care? Between this and your foster care, is that paying you enough? Is that what, how much are they paying you? Between that and your foster care, are you able to survive? I don't know anything about foster care. Monique and I are providing for him as a straight adoption. You don't bring my child into this. But I will tell you this, he will rue the day that he brought my son into this. He will rue the day.
You know, we talked early on about
you know, you run private investigators. I mean, some of these techniques were things you did to other people. I mean, you ran PIs who infiltrated.
It's so wrong. I never, ever even crossed my mind to think about bringing a person's child into something. I never, ever crossed my mind to use a terroristic technique like that, ever. Nothing like this.
I mean, you had people pretending to be people's friends while secretly.
All right.
I mean, I'm not trying to give you. Isn't that a fact?
Huh?
Isn't that a fact?
You're a fucking asshole. That's a fact. Fuck you. You know, I'm sitting here having my child brought into this thing, and you want to fucking sit here and make me defend myself? Fuck yourself. I have to be subjected to this shit, and I gotta take this shit from him.
All right, forget it, Marty. I'm not.
You know, fuck yourself. Truly.
As far as I'm concerned, there are moments where it's obvious that Marty has issues to deal with from his time in Scientology. When the church came after Marty near the end of the film, and a Scientologist baits Rathbun about his then newly adopted son, I listened with interest, but not really surprise, as Marty claimed he never involved people's children in such fair game tactics when he was in charge of that sort of thing. He was visibly angered and shaken and rebuked Louis for prodding him about this. Yet the fact is that Marty had already stated that he very much involved the children of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in their breakup by leveraging their kids against Nicole to make their separation that much easier to orchestrate. When Louis asked him about previous operations he'd been involved in with private investigators, Marty told Louis to fuck off and that he was offended. It's things like this that speak volumes about where Marty is at on his Scientology experiences.
You know, does he sit all day long saying, oh, I regret, you know, you can, you know, you're going to regret your whole life. He spent his whole life there.
You hear people on the internet calling for you to be more apologetic. I mean, what's your reaction to that?
I don't read that stuff.
But the effect on Mosey makes him reconsider his past.
In some ways, are they using your own tactics back on you?
Yeah, it's my own tactics back on me in terms of the surveillance. In a way, it's my karma, you know? I've done it to others. And so, in a way, it's you reap what you sow.
I constantly get presented with who I was, and you know, and I constantly don't like what I see, and I sort of constantly keep dying deaths. And I don't know how many more deaths I have left. But I regret, and I'm ashamed of the entire experience. I take responsibility for what I did to make the church what it is. The cult is a religious group that is so fanatic that it's created its own universe, and that's precisely what Scientology is.
People are conditioned to accept that, you know? I was conditioned to accept that and participate in that. I think I recognize how Scientology at the upper levels does that to people.
Yet he doesn't want to return to being the sort of man he was in the church.
That fanaticism leads to all other evils. My goals have, you know, I've readjusted them radically since I got out of the Church of Scientology.
Has Marty Rathbun fully come to terms with what he did in the church? I think it's a process he's going through.
I had fulfilled my obligation in terms of making up for my activities that made Scientology what it is today. We own our pasts. It's the one thing that nobody can take away from us. And the question is, you know, how do you process that and learn from that?